And hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the DoDcast Postgame Show. I'm your host, District on Deck co-editor Ricky Keeler. And the Washington Nationals, they head out to St. Louis and they lay an egg at Busch Stadium as the Cardinals win 8-1. This game was never really close from the beginning. Mike Leake dominated the Nats offense for most of this game, ended up going 8 innings, but Tanner Roark has got to be the story. Only finished 3 innings, did not have his best stuff, and you wonder where the Nationals go from here with him because June's a month he's going to want to forget. Of course, the big news today, Trea Turner going on the DL, so the Nationals making a lot of lineup changes. We'll talk more about that and the impact that might have and who the Nats called up for Trea Turner. A lot on the docket tonight here on the DoDcast, so we want to hear from you as always. Feel free to submit a question or a comment in our chat room here on the YouTube page. District on Deck is the YouTube page if you're looking for it. Or you can tweet me on Twitter at Rickinator555 or at District on Deck. So let's run through the totals and then we'll dive into some specifics. Nationals get 1 run on 6 hits, no errors. That one run coming in the 4th inning on a Daniel Murphy double play. So it doesn't really count as an RBI. So nobody drove in a run today. That's a rarity for this offense. Cardinals 8 runs, 11 hits, no errors. Mike Leake gets the win. He goes to 6-6, 8 innings, 1 run, 5 hits, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. His first win since May 24th. Tanner Roark gets the loss, and he drops to 6-6, 3 innings, 3 runs, 4 hits, 5 walks, a career high, and just 2 strikeouts. On 85 pitches, only 46 strikes, and it was just a rough day at the office for Tanner Roark, who you constantly hear about his game like he's trying to turn it around, and nothing's all right for him at this point because his fastball does not have good command right now. You saw it in the 3rd inning when he's throwing a 3-2 curveball to Yadier Molina with bases loaded. Molina swings at ball 4, ends up being a 2-run single. And to Roark's credit, you thought he had a rough first inning. He threw about 28 pitches, but he got out of it. 2nd inning, same issue. Puts guys on base, walks Mike Leake on 4 pitches. You never want to walk the pitcher on 4 pitches. That's how you know it's just not your night. And Roark got it again. 51 pitches in 2 innings, but it was a scoreless game. And you remember from the Reds game, he had the rough first inning, and then he recovered to get you through 6. It wasn't going to be that way tonight. I mean, you could try to spin it that way, and he just would not look good with that command. And it started to be a major concern for this team. It was back-to-back walks to Tommy Pham and Steven Piscotty. Jorko then gets the base hit that hits off Roark's hand. Yadi Molina, as we mentioned, the 2-run single. A couple batters later, Greg Garcia gets a base hit, and it was 3-0, and the Cardinals never looked back from there. And then Roark, you had to take Roark out at that point. There was no reason. We've seen Dusty overuse him even at times this year. You had to get him out of the game. You got to lose the battle to win the war, as we keep talking about with Baker's decisions. And that's when he's got to let Jacob Turner come in and throw as many pitches as he can. And I was having this argument on Twitter. You could talk about taking Tanner Roark out of the rotation, but who are you putting in that's any better? I mean, I don't think this is the new Tanner Roark. I think he's just having a bad month. I mean, he's still the guy that was consistent last year for this team, was consistent in 2014 when he was in the rotation. Did have a rough time in 2015. That's because he didn't have a role really out of the bullpen. So, I mean, again, who are you going to take out? And if it's an injury, you got to get him on the DL. You can even make the case, hey, you want to give the guy a mental break? He's only got 1 start left before the All-Star break. Put him on the DL and say, we'll see you after the break if you want to go that route. The guy needs a mental break. He'll get it soon enough with the All-Star break coming up, but you can just tell his confidence isn't there. His confidence isn't there with his fastball. It's just not working. The breaking ball had some good break to it, particularly against Jorko a couple of times. But when you have that as the only pitch and you're not hitting the corners, and that was a problem Roark had earlier this year. When he doesn't hit the corners, it frustrates him, and he keeps trying to hit that corner that he's not getting from the umpire. So that's, again, a decision where you're just shifting the strategy a little bit. Judo Joker's here. Hey, Judo. Was this a game which the Nats should have thrown the white flag in the 3rd? Even if they shouldn't have, did they have their levers ready to go in the 4th? Judo, I think when Turner comes in the 4th, that is the white flag. it's a game you're trying to keep it close at that point, but once it gets to 8-1, where Jacob Turner just had a rough fourth inning, the Cardinals were making really good contact against his pitches, and you had the Carpenter double, then you had a wild pitch. Jorko hits the double. Molina then gets the 2-run single, and then Paul DeJong, who's been huge for the Cardinals, gets a 2-run homer. All of a sudden, you get yourself an 8-1 ball game. I think they did call. I did see kind of a wave the white flag kind of mentality because the Nationals really weren't working a lot of good at bats against Leake, and that's something they did in April. I wish that strategy changed. I mean, Mike Leake's going to throw a lot of strikes. I get that, but at least work the count a little bit. You were having 4 double plays where they were swinging first couple of pitches during those double plays. Wilmer Difo came off the bench and had a double play. I mean, at some point, you got to try to get a 5-6 pitch at bat in there somewhere. Foul some pitches off, but every time it seemed like it was quick inning after quick inning after quick inning. You had in the second inning where Daniel Murphy got thrown out at the plate, which I understand. You have the contact play on. You got Lobaton on deck, but Weeder's having the night off. You have to take a chance. But Murphy was out by a mile, and then Michael Taylor getting picked off before Bryce Harper sees a pitch. You just can't have that happen if Taylor's going to hit the top of the order. Judo was just not their day. I'm playing simple. I think they did a lot of things wrong in this game, and you hope it doesn't carry over. And I think that it started bad for the Nats right out of the gate in the first inning when Bryce Harper went down after running out that ground ball. It wasn't a double play because the Cardinals threw it away, and then you thought it was cramps. Maybe Harper's ankle was bothering him from yesterday, and then you look at the Masson angle later in the game, maybe the throw from second hit him in the foot. Either way, you got to give Bryce Harper a game off. He's too important to this team, especially with Trea Turner being out for the foreseeable future. And Bob Nightingale from USA Today tweeted out the Nats do expect Turner to be back by the end of August, which is huge news. They will not look to get a shortstop for the time being, which I think is the right decision. So with Turner being out for the foreseeable future, you need Bryce Harper healthy because you lose him and your lineup takes a major hit. They already did take a major hit with Turner, but you need Bryce Harper back as soon as you can. I thought Jacob Turner did well, all things considering. He had the rough fourth inning, but I thought he did a nice job taking one for the team, as I mentioned. 3 2/3, 5 runs, 7 hits, 4 strikeouts. He walked 2 through about 77 pitches. So not a bad game for Jacob Turner by any means. One bad inning, but you have to wonder he won't be used for a while. Do the Nats make a pitching move, sort of counteract that? I think that's going to be a big question going forward, going into tomorrow at least. And Joe Blanton comes in, gets a 1-pitch pop out in the 7th, and then he finishes up getting a total of 4 batters on 7 pitches. So Blanton's looked better last couple of games, but we'll see if that actually carries over. Daniel Murphy did have a double tonight, his 24th of the season. Brian Goodwin a double, and he got robbed a couple of times. Started right at the gate. Goodwin got a home run taken away from him in the first inning by Tommy Pham, and you kind of know from that point it just wasn't your night. Michael Taylor, I thought, had a good game, though. 2 hits and a walk in the number 2 spot. Judo says, people want Trinan gone, Roark gone, and somehow still in, and also a closer while half the bullpen's on the DL. Yeah, Coda Glover's a huge deal. Sean Kelly's in the DL, yes, and we'll see what happens with him. Sammy Solis was put on the 60-day DL, but he's been out longer than 60 days anyway. That was just a move today to fill a roster spot for Adrian Sanchez. So we'll see when Sammy Solis comes back. He wasn't used in tonight's game at Syracuse. So that's going to be a big question. When is Sammy Solis coming back? Keep hearing he's close, and he hasn't been here for a while. He's got a couple weeks left, about a week or so left. Remember, you get I think about 21 days to rehab before the team has to make a decision, and Solis has been down there a while. Been down there. The rehab assignment started June 15th. Now tomorrow's going to be July 1st. So they're going to have to make a decision. Also, for the bullpen, Francisco Rodriguez, who was a July 9th opt-out, hasn't even pitched a game in Syracuse yet. So until you want to see K-Rod, you got to see him pitch first. That hasn't been there yet. The bullpen has its own fair share of issues, but Judo, I don't know if you were here yesterday. The people that blame Blake Trinan, I don't get it. And you could go back to the DoDcast yesterday. Trinan's not a closer. He's a good middle reliever. He's a good 7th, 8th inning guy. He's not a 9th inning guy. Just isn't. There's some guys who aren't. Blake Trinan's not. Dusty put him in a bad situation by using Albers and Romero in all 3 games, plain simple. I think Dusty lost that game yesterday before when he made those decisions the first 3 games of that series. Just was not their night tonight. The Nats now, you look at what's coming up. Now, they're not in any trouble by any means yet, but you got a huge week next week in the division where you have the Mets coming in for 3 and you got the Braves coming in for 4. The Nats limp into the break. They could lose a huge chunk of that lead. So they have to try to finish the break on a strong note. They had a rough month of June. They have to spring forward into July because your lead right now is at 9. Atlanta's in progress against Oakland. We'll give you that score in a little bit. But Freddie Freeman's coming back for the Braves. And the Mets are playing really well. Albeit with all their injuries, they're finally getting on a hot streak. So the Nats have to be really careful. That's where I think this Tanner Roark decision is going to be huge. We'll see if Dusty Baker comments on it while we're here. But that's the big story of this game. They need him to get right if they don't have any chance to win a title. Because it gives you 4 strong starters, and this team needs 4 strong starters. They can deal with Joe Ross being a guy that keeps you in the ball game, but they can't have Tanner Roark being a problem on this team because that's going to put a lot of hope in Gio, who's pitched really well this year. But they need that 4th reliable starter, and Tanner Roark just isn't doing it. But who are you going to bring up? AJ Cole's not the answer. Jacob Turner, I don't think, is the answer. But if you're going to try to say, you got to think something's wrong with Roark, unless it's between the ears, because he right now just doesn't have any confidence with the fastball. And Judo said kind of said the same point. I think Roark needs a mental break. Is it worth considering reordering the rotation in some way? So Max, Gio, and Strauss split up Joe and Tanner starts after the break. Well, you're going to get the long break either way. Remember, the Nats will only go one more time through the rotation, through the break. I think Roark's next start is going to be, looks like Tuesday. So maybe Roark actually does get 2 starts. Be Tuesday and probably the Sunday game against Atlanta. So do you put, like I said earlier, do you put him, if something is wrong, do you put him on the DL and say, see you after the break? Where you give him those 2 starts off, you call up like an AJ Cole or something to pitch those games. Or you keep Jacob Turner in the road. You make Jacob Turner your spot starter for 2 games. That's the decision the Nationals have to make. But since that 8th inning in Oakland, he has not looked good. And you maybe start to wonder, are all those pitches that Roark threw early in the year catching up to him? And you have to consider that a factor right now. So let's take a look around the division. Let me first talk about the lineup moves that Dusty made today. He puts Brian Goodwin lead off and Michael Taylor second. I don't think it's a bad idea to start off with. Brian Goodwin's done an excellent job over the last couple weeks. I think Baker's riding the hot hand, and he also wants to put some speed at the top of the order. You could put Anthony Rendon there because he takes a lot of pitches, but I don't think they want to break up the Harper, Zimmerman, Murphy, Rendon middle of the order right now, and there's no reason to. I mean, those 4 guys are hitting the ball very well. Unless those guys start to slump, then I'll break that part of the lineup up. But I'm not doing that right now. So the easy solution for the short term is to put Brian Goodwin leadoff and put Michael Taylor second. Maybe you'll see, as Dusty said earlier today, Michael Taylor hit leadoff. Now, that hasn't worked in the past. Remember when Taylor would take over for Span and Taylor would take over Ben Revere the last 2 years? He has struggled in that spot. However, we've seen Michael Taylor the 3rd time around do much better this year. Maybe he keeps that confidence going to the leadoff spot. But I don't think you move Rendon around. Maybe when Jason Worth comes back, hopefully after the break, you put Worth there. But for now, I like Brian Goodwin in that spot. And you keep the speed element going. Not as much as when you had Turner, but you keep that element in the offense. When Trea Turner gets sent down, they call up not sent down, excuse me, put on the DL. Adrian Sanchez gets called up from Syracuse. He's been in the minors since 2007, so is an excellent. I'm sure not the way he wanted to get to the big leagues, but or an injury, but it's great to see him in the big leagues. He's had a good year for Syracuse as their infielder. Plays some third, plays some second, plays some short. You saw him come in to play shortstop for Stephen Drew. Wish he got an at bat in this game, but I'm sure he'll get a chance to play. Stephen Drew's not going to play every day at short. So maybe Sanchez gets some playing time for the time being, and he's a guy that has improved his line drive percentage this year, almost 10% increase. I talk about that more in an article tomorrow on DistrictOnDeck.com. One of the better hitters for Syracuse this year. Syracuse has been a rough year, but Sanchez has been hitting the ball well. He was with Columbia in the World Baseball Classic, had an RBI against Team USA. So he's a guy coming in with a lot of momentum, and the Nationals could use that third infielder to sort of split the playing time up, and I don't have a problem with it. I was a little bit skeptical last night because I thought they would try to call up another outfielder, but Chris Heisey's in Syracuse rehabbing, so we'll see when Chris Heisey comes back. But I like the move with Sanchez. I think it's a great story that he's called up to the big leagues, and we'll see when he gets a chance to play. So let's take a look around the division. The Mets beat the Phillies tonight 2-1. An impressive performance by Jacob deGrom, who's been lights out over the last few starts. 7 innings, 1 run, 3 hits. He struck out 12. RBIs for Curtis Granderson and Travis d'Arnaud. So the Mets edge the Phillies 2-1. They get Zach Wheeler back tomorrow. So they continue to play well. The Marlins right now in progress in Milwaukee against the NL Central leading Brewers. So in July, Milwaukee's still going to be in first place. Brewers just wrapped up, by the way, a 3-2 win over Miami. So the Marlins take another loss. Edison Volquez gave 1 run over 6 innings, but Milwaukee got 2 in the bottom of the 7th. 2-run shot by Stephen Vogt. So the Brewers get the win there. And out in Oakland right now, Braves against the A's, and Atlanta's got a 1-0 lead against Sonny Gray on a Dansby Swanson RBI double in the 3rd. And Mike Fulton-Newitz, I won't jinx it, but he's put up bagels through 5 innings, only allowed 1 walk. All I'll say, if you're a Brave fan out there, I will not jinx it for you. So I'll just say keep an eye on Oakland right now. But a good pitching matchup between Fulton-Newitz and Gray, Braves and A's right now. Also, congrats to Wilson Ramos. He got a chance to play today for Tampa Bay and hit his first home run as a Ray. Always exciting. And former Nat Steven Souza Jr. hit a 3-run homer as Tampa beat Baltimore 6-4. So let's go to tomorrow night's game. Again, Drew Douglas will be with you solo tomorrow for the tweets and the postgame. So I'm sure you guys will have fun with Drew. Gio Gonzalez takes the ball for the Nats, 7-2 with a 2.87 against Michael Wacha for the Cardinals. Wacha 4-3 with a 4.50. That game you can catch on Fox at 7:15 Eastern. It's a Fox game tomorrow, not on MASN. Next 2 games are on national TV. Fox Saturday, and I'll be with you for the Sunday night game on ESPN. By the way, All-Star Selection Show also before the game Sunday. As for Wacha, he's had a couple of rough – June's been rough on him too, a 5.55 ERA. Is 2-0 in his last 5 starts, but hasn't gotten more than 6 innings, and he's had a tough time getting past 4 1/3. So maybe Wacha's the kind of guy the Nats can get to a little bit. He has thrown more than 89 pitches in his last 6 starts. So if you can have maybe a long first inning, sort of get the competitive bats going, that's going to do some damage. It wouldn't surprise me in the very least. Some of the numbers against Wacha, Daniel Murphy's got a home run, but he's 3 for 14. Anthony Rendon, 1 for 8, but he has a homer. And Ryan Zimmerman, 3 for 9 with a double. Nats did not face Wacha in that first series at Nats Park. As for Gio Gonzalez, obviously he's got to think one more chance to make a good impression before the All-Star rosters are announced. 5 walks against the Cubs last time out, and that would concern me. He does a good job getting out of men scoring position situations, but I need those walks to go down. But Gonzalez, a 2.53 ERA in June. Definitely have to love that. He's got good confidence going, and he's pitched decent on the road. He has won 6 of his 7 games on the road, but his ERA is over 4 away from Nats Park, 1.64 at home, something to keep an eye on. He did face the Cardinals earlier this season, and he was really good in that game. 7 innings pitched, gave up 2 runs, 1 of them earned on a solo homer and struck out 6. Didn't walk anybody, which is only the second time, one of only 2 times Gio's done that this year on 103 pitches. So I would have confidence with Gio that he should be able to bounce back against Wacha and get a win. And you want to get that win for Scherzer. Judo says, important question. DeGrom or Syndergaard, who has better hair? I vote DeGrom because his hair is shorter but thicker. I live in New York, Judo, so this is actually a really good question. I watch a lot of Mets games. I'm gonna go Thor. I think Gesellman's hair looks too much like DeGrom's. I think their hairstyles are similar, so Syndergaard kind of has the unique edge. So I'll give him the edge on the hairstyle. But a great question, nevertheless. That's the kind of hard-hitting questions you get on the DoDcast. So let's go around the minor leagues, take a look at some scores. Syracuse got the win over Buffalo, 8-1. Clint Robinson, 3 hits, including a home run tonight. We mentioned Chris Heisey appearing in his first rehab game, 0 for 3. Andrew Stevenson tacked on an RBI tonight, 1 for 5. He continues to hit the ball well this month. And how about Taylor Hill? 8 innings, did not give up an earned run, 1 run total on 3 hits and struck out 2. He got called up from Harrisburg, had to make the trek to Buffalo today. So he had to make a long ride and pitch 8 strong innings. So congratulations to Taylor Hill. That's not easy to do. So he comes up and puts up another good outing, even though his ERA is almost over 8. It's about 7.83, but he gets a win. Harrisburg was in Binghamton taking on the Rumble Ponies, and the Senators get the win 4-3. They score a run in the 9th to seal the victory. Marmoleos with an RBI, his 27th. Yadiel Hernandez, another RBI in this one. Good performance by the bullpen. Brady Dragmeyer got the win. 2 innings, 2 hits, and 2 strikeouts. Ryan Brindley picked up the save in the 9th, his 6th of the season. Pitchers duel out in Boys Creek, but Potomac lost 2-1. Luis Reyes gave up both runs in the first, but none of them are earned. Ended up going 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 strikeouts, and walked 1. The lone RBI for Potomac coming from Victor Robles, his 29th of the season, up to 20 doubles. And I wasn't here, so I'll say this. Congrats to Victor Robles on making the Futures game, which you can watch next Sunday on MLB Network. So I would recommend, if you haven't watched a Potomac game in person, please watch the Futures game after Nats Braves next Sunday. Watch Victor Robles. This guy's got so much speed. You can see why he's the top prospect in this system, and he's been excellent for Potomac this season. He's bound to be promoted really soon. I mean, he's just been having that good of a year. How about the Hagerstown Suns in the South Atlantic League? They had a rough end of their first half. We had Kevin Gale, the play-by-play announcer, on a week ago, and they are on a fire right now. They've won 8 in a row. They come from behind to beat Lakewood tonight, 5-4. Aldrum Corridor at the game-winning RBI single. He goes 4 for 5 in this one. 3 hits for Tres Barrera. Jake Knoll, a couple ribbies, who's up to 39 this year. Corridor's at 35. Sheldon Noisy adds up 1 more for 46. Not a bad game from Tyler Watson. 7 strikeouts in 6 innings. We gave up 4 runs. A.J. Bogucki went 3 innings, gave up 2 hits, and struck out 2, and he picks up the win. Weird one down in State College. Auburn had a no-hitter into the 6th inning, and they lost 7-6 despite recording 17 hits. 6 different players had multi-hit games, and they still lost this one. Ben Bramer, he had the no-hitter through 5, struck out 7 and walked 3 on 67 pitches, but the bullpen, Michael Rishwain, gave up 5 runs in 2 innings, and the Double Days dropped to 3-8 on the young season. And the GCL Nats, they finally took a loss to the Astros 4-0. Nick Rackett, who was our 3rd-round pick, got the start. 2 innings, 2 hits, and struck out a couple. And the lone, no RBIs in this one, but Alan Silva, the left fielder, he had a couple of hits. And the DSL Nats, the Dominican Summer League, they took on the Yankees, and they rolled in this one 11-5. I'll give you a couple numbers here. 3 RBIs for catcher Wilmer Perez. He's up to 14 this season. Jesus Morales, the 3rd baseman, is up to 13. So that's your minor league update of the night. Judo says Gito's looking good right now. I would agree. It's going to be tough for him to make the All-Star team just because there's so many great pitchers. Maybe he gets in on a replacement, but he's become to the point where you can trust him to have a good game. And I don't think anybody thought that going into the year, but he's been excellent. He's not Scherzer, he's not Strasburg, but he's been really good. So we'll see how he does tomorrow. But the Nats need a bounce-back effort. You thought there would be a letdown after yesterday, a tough loss to the Cubs. The bullpen was a mess, and the Trea Turner injury doesn't help things either. So you kind of thought there'd be a letdown to begin with, but it was just not a good game, and maybe a bad matchup against a guy like Leak. So here's what we got up on the site. At least today, we had Ron Wright and the Trea Turner injury. I wrote more on the minor league deal with Kevin Jepson. We got a couple more articles going up tomorrow. Again, I have one on Adrian Sanchez. You get to know him a little bit better. And Ron did an excellent interview today, which you're going to find on the site tomorrow in its entirety. He had a chance to talk to Tim Kirkchin from ESPN. Kirkchin is part of the All-Star Selection Show broadcast, which you can catch at 7 o'clock on ESPN on Sunday. So Ron talks about the All-Star Show, talks about Ryan Zimmerman, talks about the closer situation, talks about Trea Turner. A lot in that interview that you're going to want to check out. That's going up at noon tomorrow. And you can maybe find it here on the DoDcast as well. We're going to put that interview up in its entirety. So you can check that out. Definitely we want to thank Tim for taking the time to talk with us. And remember, watch Sunday night on ESPN with Dan Schulman, Aaron Boone, Jessica Mendoza, and Buster only 8 o'clock. And then come back here for the DoDcast Postgame Show, which I'll be hosting. So again, Drew's with you tomorrow. He'll have a lot of fun with you guys. It's going to be his first solo show, but I'm sure he'll do really good. He's been one of me and Ron have liked the progress he's done here at the site. So the Nats lose this one 8-1, and the big question again is I'll look one more time to see if there's any quotes here regarding Tanner Roark. Let me take a look just to make sure. Not seeing anything here, so. We'll have to see what Dusty Baker says or what even Tanner Roark says, because I'm really interested to see how he feels after this one, because you have to wonder something's got to be wrong, and I don't think it's just all of a sudden his talent's gone. I just think right now part of it is the fastball's just not there. The speed is there. He's not losing velocity, but he's not exactly getting the command that he wants, and the breaking ball is pretty good. But we'll see what happens. By the way, on the Harper injury, Mark Zuckerman from Masson, Harper took throw directly up the ankle bone. Nats were scared at first, but nonetheless went away and was able to finish the game. I would give Bryce Harper the day off tomorrow. Let him rest that ankle. Don't take a chance. He had rolled the ankle on the throw on Thursday. I'm not sure it was the same ankle, but he did have roll the ankle on a throw into the plate Thursday. Don't take a chance. Give Harper a day off tomorrow. I know the game's on Fox, and maybe they won't be happy with you, but it's not a game where you only get one audience. I think it's like 3 games on Fox anyway. So I would not play Bryce Harper tomorrow. But we'll see what they decide. But nothing I see on the Roark front. So we'll have more reaction, I'm sure, on it tomorrow. Just keep looking at Twitter. And remember, follow us on Facebook. Got our Facebook page going. You can find all our DoDcast articles there. Continue to subscribe to the YouTube channel. All of our videos are going to be there as well. And follow us on Twitter at District on Deck. Follow me on Twitter at Rickinator555. Remember, DistrictOnDeck.com is your home for all Nationals opinions, news, minor league stuff. We got everything for you. So feel free to check out the work that our team does. We really do appreciate it. As we head into July, so we're going to have a lot of rumors up. Of course, a lot of bullpen news. It's a big topic around the Nationals, so looking forward to it. And yet, Judo, you can think about that. Drew's getting up to the big leagues, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm sure again you guys will have fun with him tomorrow. So for all of us here at District on Deck, I'm Ricky Keeler saying hope you have a great night. Enjoy the first day of July, and I'll see you Sunday night. Drew will see you tomorrow night after Nats Cardinals on Fox.